What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get back to speaking on the migrant crisis again. And as I've stated numerous times over on this channel, and I'm going to keep stating it until the election, a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for illegal immigration. I'll say it again. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for illegal immigration. Everything that you're hearing now about how the illegal immigration tide has slowed down and it's at record lows and blah, 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 blah. Number one, first thing and foremost, the damage is already done. We already have anywhere between 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants that have crossed the border and come into the country under the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden administration, right? A vote for Harris, in my opinion, would unlock an additional 10 to 15 million. I am more than 100% confident that once she gets back into office, if she does get back into office, that border will be right back open again to the same capacity that it has been over the last 4 years. And what we've seen since Kamala Harris and Biden has been in office over these first 4 years is that there has been a massive aggressive push by Democrats throughout liberal cities, DNC cities across the country to push non-citizen voting, non-citizen policing. And in many of these cities and states, these things have been successful. I believe it was at the top of this year or at the top of last year, non-citizen policing was achieved and signed into law here in California, where I am. At the top of this year as well, non-citizen policing became effective and went into law in the state of Illinois, all throughout the state of Illinois. Also, J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, signed into law a law that states that non-citizens can receive driver's license. In Washington, D.C., I believe it was in 2022, or possibly at the top of this year too, but I think it was 2022, if I'm not mistaken, in Washington, D.C., they passed non-citizen voting. Yes, in Washington, D.C., non-citizen voting is legal. And we've seen that there has been a massive push to get this done in places like New York and Boston as well. Denver, it's only a matter of time. And with all that being said, now what we have here coming from Elizabeth Warren is that if Kamala Harris is successful, we're going to see a massive push at an amnesty bill that'll create a pathway to citizenship for all illegal immigrants within the country. There's going to be a pathway to citizenship, a mass amnesty bill that will be on the way. And I believe that they will be aggressively making it a point to get that into law if Harris is successful. What I want to do is take a moment to go through this article right here, and I will have a link in the description box below so that you can read it as well. It's titled, Elizabeth Warren Calls for Granting Citizenship to Illegal Immigrants, Says Harris Will Get It Done. She says President Harris, 2024, will get it done. Let's dive into this article. Senator Elizabeth Warren called for creating a pathway to citizenship for millions of illegal immigrants on Sunday, arguing Vice President Kamala Harris is the candidate to, quote, get it done. Warren made the comments during a Sunday morning appearance on CNN's State of the Union with host Jake Tapper. Tapper pressed her to defend the immigration policies of the Biden-Harris administration, which have been historically unpopular. Now, Tapper stated, and I quote, I don't need to tell you, voters overwhelmingly disapprove of how the Biden-Harris administration has handled the border, Tapper said. By giving the nomination to one of the leaders of the border effort, Aren't Democrats doubling down on one of your party's biggest vulnerabilities? That's a great question. And she went on to answer, border crossings now are lower than they were in the last year of the Trump administration. We need the tools in order to have more resources at the border, to have more resources in the states and cities that are supporting migrants. And I do believe, and I believe we need to create a pathway to citizenship. All of that is part of what we need to do for comprehensive immigration reform. Kamala Harris will work with Congress to get that done, she added. Everything that she just stated in that last quote, especially concerning giving more resources to the good men and women at the border. She's not talking about giving them resources to stop the incoming, never ending flow of migrants. That's not what she's talking about. She's talking about giving them more resources to help process them into the country faster. That's what she's talking about when she says we need to give the men and the women at the border more resources. She's talking about giving them the ability to process illegal immigrants coming into the country on these bogus asylum claims faster. And then as we process them into the country faster, we get them to their desired cities and states. And she stated, and to have more resources in the states and cities that are supporting migrants. So in cities and states like Chicago and New York, the illegal immigrants in those cities and states will be getting a boatload of resources that you won't have access to because, unfortunately for you, you're a citizen of this country. But hey, at least your tax dollars are working hard to provide resources, help, and assistance for illegal immigrants to the degree that you can't even get those help, resources, and assistance. But I digress. Let's get back into the article, which reads, former President Trump has remained focused on illegal immigration throughout his campaign. Border crossings repeatedly surged to unprecedented levels at multiple points during the Biden administration. Former President Trump has remained focused on illegal immigration throughout his campaign. Border crossings repeatedly surged to unprecedented levels at multiple points during the Biden administration. Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio, accused Harris of wanting citizenship for illegal immigrants at a campaign rally in Minnesota on Saturday. And I quote, worst of all, Kamala Harris would happily erode every protection we have to prevent them from voting. And he is 100% right on that. Vance said at a rally in Minnesota on Saturday. She wants to hand over control of our country to people who shouldn't be here in the first place. And we cannot let her. And I have a message, a very simple message to millions of illegal aliens who are in the country and shouldn't be. If you are here, start packing your bags right now, because Donald J. Trump is coming back into office. And this is also precisely why we're seeing caravans come through with 3,000 plus illegal immigrants rushing to get to the border now before the election begins, in fear of a return of Donald Trump. That fear of the return of Donald Trump is actually driving a new surge of illegal immigrants coming to the border, because they know once he gets into office, if he gets into office, game over. And it's a big gamble too, because it might be game over even if you've already crossed the border and got here, because we all know that Trump has been also campaigning on mass deportations, but that is all yet to be seen. First things first, business has to be handled, and he has to be elected into office, right? And if you are in those swing states, those battleground states, you are the ones that are really, to be honest, in charge of who's going to become president of the United States, right? So it's up to you. Are you voting for illegal immigration, or are you voting for mass deportation and closed borders? The choice is yours, but I think we all know what is the right choice to make. And that choice is closed borders and mass deportations. So with all that being said, thank you all for joining me today. That does it for today's news. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group, as well as follow me on Rumble at TD Media Group. The links to my Telegram and Rumble will be in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time, and until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.